want a toehold and a sphere of influence with the Pakistani military and some control there so that they can exercise some restriction over the pressing of the nuclear button. This is something which the Americans now will have to face, because what they did is they empowered Pakistan with nuclear technology when Bharat tested its and became nuclear enabled. But they forgot that the Bharatiya responsibility and the restraint that would be shown, and Bharat is a signatory to the non-proliferation treaty. Pakistan is not. China is not. So these are all issues which now will come front and center. The Trump administration, what it does it decide to defang Pakistan of nuclear capability altogether? We have to wait and watch, because right now we have already put it out here on CNN News 18 that Pakistan may be quasi-testing nuclear arms with the Chinese, and they may be in bed with the Iranians even now, and that's the reason why, despite sanctions, despite airstrikes, Iran continues to be on the path of nuclearly enabling itself with enriched uranium.
Yes, absolutely. These documents, Anand, make for very fascinating reading. Most of the concerns, of course, are about Iran at that time, also a little bit about North Korea. But Pakistan has always played this, role in international global politics that even brings America or other countries to its knees. I'm using that term because, yes, while they do this for their own benefit a lot of times, they are in these documents, for example, George W. Bush accepting that, yes, we are also concerned about Pakistan, as Putin says.
Not just a concern for Pakistan, because we don't know how Pakistan will act.
Yes.
Now, this is something which, if we were to take the map, and Lieutenant General K.J.S. Dhillon was explaining this yet again the other evening on CNN News 18 on the right stand, the fact that if you look at the geographical location of Pakistan, it's that geographical location that Pakistan uses to its advantage, because above the Taklamakan corridor is Soviet Russia, and also erstwhile Soviet Russia and now Russia, and then the Chinese, and then you have the Americans. They all wanted access to the sea. If the Americans wanted a toehold and they are looking at Pasni as a port, it's because they want to train their guns on China and the rest of Central Asia and have it on their radar.
Right.
The Chinese wanted warm water access, and that's why they've invested so much in the Gwadar port. The Russians went into and walked into Afghanistan because via Pakistan, Afghanistan, they wanted access into the warm waters in the erstwhile Soviet Russia, because Tajikistan and all of those regions came under Soviet Russia. So there was a reason why this region continues to find relevance, right, despite it being a rogue state and, like Putin said, nothing but run by a junta.
Yes, absolutely. I also want to go across to Colonel Rohit Dev, defense expert, joining us. Colonel Dev, we often say Pakistan is not a country with an army, but an army with a country. And here, in these documents now declassified from US records, President Putin himself is quoted as saying that Pakistan is nothing but a junta with nuclear weapons.
So this comes as no surprise to, I think, the
most
Indian
yes,
think tank mostly.
Yes.
And it's not the only cause that Pakistan has nuclear weapons, because it's a rogue state. It is not in sync with the geopolitical alignments. But the bigger problem is the dream of the Pakistani establishment from the 1970s, in the time of Ziaul Haq, to become the leader of the Islamic Caliphate. And where the problem lies there is, and that also you'll find in a measure what Putin has told that time as well, that this religiously intolerant country, aspiring to be religious sort of a head of the Islamic Caliphate, there are chances of proliferation which are much more damaging for the world stability if you look at the global level. And that is what the problem is, because not only do they have it, but their entire scheme of profiting the technology, the know-how, and also the weapon systems to other states without knowledge of the US. And this current sort of alignment of the US administration with Pakistan to base it on something to do with counter-terrorism and those aspects is actually flawed. Because they have done it with Pakistan over a period of time, right from the Soviet exit from the Afghanistan era. They have been with Pakistan on that, and they know how Pakistan has, funneled the money, the resources, the grants, and whatever coming to them from all global institutions.
There seems to be that realization was finally setting in the US. In his previous term, Donald Trump himself had called out Pakistan for fleecing the Americans. But now they've gone back on that again. Is it purely for personal reasons and personal business concerns this time around than anything else? We'll have to wait and see. Colonel Rohit Dev, I do thank you for joining us for the meantime. Moving on, days after the brutal lynching of Deepu Das, Bangladesh has witnessed another shocking attack on its minority communities. A 29-year-old Hindu man, Amit Mondal, has now been beaten to death by a mob in Rajbari district over alleged extortion charges. Reports indicate rising attacks on Hindu villages as well, with Hindu families' homes set on fire, threats being issued even as Christian communities faced blasts near churches. Meanwhile, political tensions are brewing as BNP scion Tariq Rahman plans to visit the grave of Sharif Osman Hadi, the controversial anti-India figure who was recently killed, and his death led to a lot of unleashing of violence in Bangladesh. On the other hand, Sheikh Hasina has reflected on Bangladesh's legacy of communal harmony, accusing the interim government of interfering with religious freedoms and condemning the recent atrocities on non-Muslims.
बहुत चिंताजनक है। हमारे सरकार ने बार बार इस पे वहाँ पे बांग्लादेश के अपने जो मिशन उनको कहलाया है। हम लोगों ने बार बार कहा है कि बहुत चिंताजनक है और इस पे जरूर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, इस पे रोकथाम होनी चाहिए।
My colleague Siddhant is also joining us. Siddhant, the Yunus administration is trying very hard to project both the lynchings of Deepu Das and Amit Mondal as non-religious. Now, even if you buy that argument in the case of Amit Mondal, because they've given a detail of how he has been a history sheeter, those arguments that it was a non-religious lynching really is not applicable in the case of Deepu Das. On top of that, there are visuals that Bangladeshis themselves are putting online about Hindu families' homes being set on fire. Several such families have come under attack. So this entire charade to project it as some sort of a non-religious strife is falling flat.
Well, that's right, Shivani. You rightly said. In fact, when Deepu Das case was being reported by the Bangladeshi media, in fact, in initial few hours, this story was floated that it is because of the internal rivalry at the garment factory, because Deepu Das was promoted to the post of supervisor, so his colleagues were jealous of him, and they spread this rumor, etc., etc. So those things were said at that time as well. And now in this case also, Amit Mondal's case, it is being said that he was an extortionist. He was running this extortion racket, was doing wasuli. All those things are being reported in the Bangladeshi media. But as you rightly said, Shivani, perhaps any circumstance, situation, or a background of a person cannot justify lynching or mobocracy. And that is perhaps something which we are raising here at CNN News 18. So, in fact, yesterday, there's a statement which came from the interim government. They, in the first paragraph, they did mention about the criminal antecedents of Amit Mondal. But at the same time, they did condemn the lynching and his killing. So they may try to spin the story, give a story a spin, or float different kinds of narrative. But the fact is that Hindus are being killed, Hindus are being targeted, and this mob culture, this new trend, this pattern is definitely concerning.
They're also trying to now attack, quote unquote, those who on social media are making this religious. But at least in the case of Deepu Das, there can be no argument it was religious, because as in case of all of such killings in the name of blasphemy, there are religious slogans raised, even as that man was being lynched, stripped, hung on a tree and then set on fire. Let's listen to some more reactions coming in.
He has been away for a very long time, and because Begum Zia herself was not well, he has been managing the party quite well. I mean, right after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government, we saw that Tariq Zia was able to consolidate the political support for the party, and even though he was doing it online and through various new technologies that are available, he was able to keep the party with him. So his coming back at this stage, when there is so much violence in Bangladesh, and the country is literally being torn apart between various ideological views. It is expected that he will bring back some semblance of political stability.
Now, even as attacks on Hindus continue in Bangladesh, there are many who are providing cover fire either to the reasons themselves or to the scale of it. A controversial statement from Indian Maulana Sajid Rashidi has also come out now, sparking outrage. He has downplayed the violence, insisting that what is happening does not qualify as a genocide. And he has also made equivalences to what happens in India. His remarks, seen as offering cover fire to Bangladesh and Islamists there, have drawn sharp criticism.
वहाँ पर ये कहा जा रहा है कि हिंदुओं का नरसंहार वहाँ पर हो रहा है।
ये टारगेट किलिंग लफ्ज़ कहाँ से आया है, किसने दिया है? आप मुझे बताइए, वहाँ के जो लोग सड़कों पर हैं वो हिंदुओं के ख़िलाफ़ थोड़ा ही हैं, वो तो अपनी हुकूमत के ख़िलाफ़ रोज़गार, महंगाई, इस चीज़ को लेकर सड़कों पर हैं। कुछ घटनाएं हो गई, उसको जेनोसाइड या उसको टारगेट किलिंग कैसे कह सकते हैं? चलिए, अगर मैं आपकी बात को मान लूँ कि वो टारगेट किलिंग है, तो यहाँ हिंदुस्तान में मुसलमानों को जो जय श्री राम का नारा लगाकर मारा जा रहा है और 50 मुसलमानों को करीब जो है मौत के घाट उतार दिया गया जय श्री राम का नारा लगाकर, तो इसको आप टारगेट किलिंग क्यों नहीं कहते? इसको जेनोसाइड क्यों नहीं कहते मुसलमानों का? ये दोहरा मेयार क्यों है? इसको टारगेट किलिंग बिल्कुल नहीं कहते। दीपू दास को जिस तरीके से मारा गया वो तरीका इस्लाम में है नहीं, मैं उसको साफ मना करता हूँ, ये गलत है। लेकिन उसको मारा इसलिए गया, उसने मोहम्मद साहब के बारे में गलत बातें कही सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। जब आप किसी के मज़हब के बारे में या किसी के मज़हब के गॉड के बारे में या मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड के बारे में बुरा भला कहेंगे तो गुस्सा किसी को भी आ सकता है। जहाँ इस्लामी हुकूमत है वहाँ मोहम्मद साहब के बारे में गलत कहने वाले को जो सज़ा तय है वो दी जाएगी। लेकिन बांग्लादेश लोकतांत्रिक देश है, हिंदुस्तान लोकतांत्रिक देश है, ऐसे देशों में किसी को मारना ठीक नहीं है। इस्लाम भी कहता है इस बात को, मैं मना कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन उसको टारगेट किलिंग कहना, उसको ये कहना कि हिंदुओं के खिलाफ एक साजिश हो रही है और जेनोसाइड हो रहा है, ये बिल्कुल गलत।
पहले हमने देखा कि दिग्विजय सिंह और राशिद अल्वी कांग्रेस के नेता कैसे इस्लामिक जिहाद की वाइट वॉशिंग और लीपापोती कर रहे थे। कह रहे थे कि दीपू दास का मारा जाना रिएक्शन था, भारत में अल्पसंख्यकों को मारा जाता है इसलिए उसको मारा गया, और उसे जायज़ ठहराकर उसे लेजिटिमाइज कर रहे थे। और अब यही काम साजिद रशीदी नाम के एक भड़काऊ भाईजान ने भी की है। इससे पहले भी उन्होंने कई भड़काऊ बयान दिए हैं, पर अब वो कहते 10-12 हिंदू मारे गए तो कौन सी बड़ी बात है? ये कौन सी टारगेटिंग किलिंग है? ये दिखाता है कि कैसे हिंदुओं को दो गाली, हिंदुओं की आस्था से लेकर हिंदुओं के ऊपर करो चोट, और मिलना है वोट बैंक का वोट, इसलिए करो इस्लामिक जिहादियों को सपोर्ट। ये इनकी मानसिक।
My colleague Pallavi Ghosh is also joining us. Pallavi, we are just seeing astounding, excuses being provided or intellectual cover fire being provided to what is happening in Bangladesh. There is always an if and but involved, even when it comes to justifying a lynching, equalizing it, or justifying blasphemy killings, as the Maulana there has done, even though he goes on in the end and say ki in democratic countries it's not okay, in Islamic countries it's okay to kill someone if you, do any blasphemous action. I mean, this is just astounding in today's day and age.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And not only that, Imam seems to be speaking a language which has been spoken in much of the Bangladeshi media. If you go through the snippets of the Bangladesh media, all of them are actually attacking India for making it all about attacking the Hindus. They're saying that in the case of Mondol, he was a known extortionist, and therefore people targeted him because he had snatched away their money. In the case of Deepu Chandra Das, he was someone who was not leaving his job, and therefore that was the anger which spilled out on the roads. But Deepu Chandra Das's family has been telling CNN News 18 that that's not the case. He never insulted the Prophet. In fact, the village he lived in was one which was surrounded by Hindus and Muslims who used to live amicably, and this question of insulting the Prophet just does not arise. Now, there are voices back home over here in India, not just the Imam, but look at even Digvijay Singh, Rashid Alvi, all of them are calling it a case of tit for tat. They are saying that if we're going to target the minorities in our country, then you can expect pretty much the same when it comes to minorities in Bangladesh. This kind of a narrative, or like Imam and Congress leaders Shivani, will only help in emboldening those lynch mob who were responsible for the death of these two, and also embolden even the Bangladeshi regime who are going to justify by saying that, look, your own people are saying it, so why is the government of India running a different narrative that Hindus are being targeted?
Yes. There's always an if and but involved. If you condemn one kind of killing or lynching without any ifs and buts and with a certain vigor, people expect the same when another lynching happens, or you will be called out for your hypocrisy. And the irony is that Bangladesh administration today is saying that no, there was no blasphemy issue involved in Deepu Das's killing. But blasphemy is being used to almost legitimize his killing in India. Now, voices from Bollywood are also speaking out against what is happening in Bangladesh. Senior actor Manoj Joshi has now slammed what he calls the entertainment industry's, quote, selective silence, questioning why attacks on Hindus go unnoticed, more or less, while global issues get immediate attention when it's concerning to other communities, for example. Actor Janhvi Kapoor also in a post on Instagram said extremism of any kind must be condemned, warning that our own brothers and sisters are being burned while the world looks elsewhere. Kajal Agarwal and veteran actor Jay Pradha have also joined in, calling the killing of Deepu Chandra Das barbaric.
बांग्लादेश में टीपू चंद्र दास नाम के एक मासूम हिंदू भाई को भीड़ ने मिलकर मार डाला। सिर्फ मारा ही नहीं, उसे पेड़ पर बांधकर और उसे आग लगा दिया। यह सरासर मां लिंचिंग है, सीधा सनातन धर्म पर और हिंदुत्व पर प्रहार है। हमारे मंदिर तोड़े जा रहे हैं, हमारी बहनों पर इज्जत पर खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं, फिर भी हम चुप हैं। हम कब तक चुप रहेंगे? हम लोग सेक्युलरिज्म के नाम से अपने आंखें बंद करके चुप हैं। हम न्याय मांगते हैं, ये हिंसा बंद करना चाहिए।
निश्चित रूप से देखो, ऐसा है कि गाज़ा या फिलिस्तीन में होता है तो सब लोग बाहर आते हैं, लेकिन जब बांग्लादेश में एक निष्पाप हिंदू को मारा जाता है तब कोई बाहर नहीं आता। ये बड़ी दुख की बात है, बहुत दुख की बात है। बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि समय ही इसका जवाब देगा, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
My colleague Hem Saroya is also joining us with more reactions that are coming in from the Bollywood industry. Hem, usually as their own fellow actors and others are pointing out, not many speak up, certainly not the biggest voices, but a little bit of change is being witnessed now.
Really, and we are really seeing Janhvi Kapoor, who really sort of led the charge here. Of course, more voices have come in after her post also. Let's just take our viewers through her post also. And she's really trying to start a dialogue here as well, Shivani. She's saying what's happening in Bangladesh is barbaric. It's slaughter. If you don't know about this inhumane public lynching, read about it, see the video and ask questions. She's really put an emphasis on the people to ask questions and come to their own conclusions when it comes to this. This is an indefensible act here, and people there are coming out and saying she's receiving a lot of flack for this also. It comes with the territory. A lot of people saying that these are isolated incidents, but at the same time you want to equate what's happening with the minorities in Bangladesh as opposed to what's happening with minorities perhaps in our own country. But then when it comes to such incidents, you really want to talk about how these are isolated incidents. Lots of justifications they're also coming out, talking about how one was an extortionist, the other had a charge of blasphemy, which has also been clarified was a false allegation. That being said, even if it wasn't, this is still a mob lynching. People there making videos of a heinous, indefensible act like that, and there needs to be a conversation about this as well. What's perhaps happening right now by way of this post that Janhvi Kapoor has put up as well, and of course we've heard Manoj Joshi, Jay Pradha speaking about this. Finally, people are talking about this. She started a conversation which of course was severely lacking. A lot of people there not putting out statements, not talking about this. Perhaps they don't want to get involved, and that's really the whole issue with this entire thing. She's talking about how we will continue to cry about things halfway across the globe while our own brothers and sisters are burnt to death. That's another important issue. Now, even Manoj Joshi has echoed the same in his statement, saying what happens in Gaza, we're quick to talk about that. Now, that's an important conversation to be had also. But this again brings us back to the point of selective outrage and selective silence. Which issues do we choose to talk about? Or are people too comfortable to not even want to talk about and not ask questions and not discuss what's happening? And what Janvi has done here, and what a lot of other celebrities who are now finally coming out and speaking about this, what they are effectively doing is starting a conversation, which is important.
Yes, and this question has been asked for a very, very long time. Those claiming to stand for human rights, those who are self-confessed activists, why do they stay quiet for one type of lynching or killing and religious acts versus others? That's the big question here. Hem, thanks a lot for joining us. We slip into a very short break, but news and updates will continue here on CNN News 18. Stay with us.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Following a dispute between Dr. Raghav of Shimla's IGMC and a patient there, which severely has impacted healthcare services in the region, OPD services have been disrupted. Counters are not issuing patient slips, and OPD rooms remain locked, we're given to understand. Patients who have travelled from remote areas, they are forced to return without any treatment. And this is the latest that we're getting right now. So their doctors have gone on mass leave in Shimla following a dispute between a doctor and a patient in Shimla's IGMC, severely impacting healthcare services there. Now, just for the benefit of our viewers, let me give you a brief background here. Now, this happened after a doctor's video of being involved in a physical altercation with a patient went viral on social media. It led to massive outrage which followed as well. The doctor allegedly assaulted a patient at the IGMC in Shimla, triggering protests after the video of this incident surfaced on social media. Now, we are given to understand that the Himachal Pradesh government had also terminated the services of the senior resident doctor who was involved in the physical altercation with the patient at the IMGC after misconduct, misbehavior and acts unbecoming of a public servant. These were some of the reasons which was cited. Now, for more on this, we have with us Arun Hanta. Arun, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, their doctors out on mass leave. It's severely impacting healthcare operations, healthcare services there in Shimla, we're seeing. Now, these acts now are undefensible completely, yet we're seeing the kind of outrage that we are. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right. It's a massive trouble for the patients there in the hospital. Remember, it is the biggest hospital of Himachal Pradesh, and people come to this hospital, Indira Gandhi Medical College, from different parts of the state for the treatments there. And when you have this suspension of the medical services in the hospital, now we are told that only emergency services are functional. Other than that, OPD and various other things there in the hospital are not working. Doctors are protesting, and we are also given to understand that it's not only happening in Shimla. Some of the hospitals in Kullu also have been observing this protest. Remember, this happened because of that physical scuffle which happened between a patient and a resident doctor a few days back, and in fact a video went viral on social media. Everybody saw that video, and in that video we could see that doctor was actually beating that patient there who was there on the bed, and in fact an inquiry committee was formed in this regard, and that's right. What the state government is saying, that on the basis of that committee's report, they have taken this action against the doctor who has been suspended, who is in fact rusticated from the hospital, and that's right. The bone of contention, that they want that doctor back in the hospital, and that's why they're protesting.
Right, so there we have it, viewers. This is the latest that we're getting right now. After that indefensible act, doctors now on mass leave. We're also getting some reactions here. Let's listen to this.
जिन भी परिस्थितियों में वो वारदात हुई है और जिस भी परिस्थिति में डॉक्टर साहब ने मरीज जो था उस पर जिस प्रकार की वारदात की गई है, मेरा ये मानना है कि इस प्रकार की वारदात नहीं होनी चाहिए। जो आईजीएमसी की जो डिसिप्लिन कमेटी उसने रिपोर्ट्स दी, उसके बाद मैंने कहा कि डॉक्टर
Welcome back. The Madhurao bench of Madras High Court has now called for legislation regulating internet usage by children in India. The court observed that with rising concerns over social media misuse, India must act to protect its young users. The court has asked state governments to prepare an action plan to spread awareness on child rights and safe internet practices until such a law is framed. The big question now is, will India follow, for example, Australia's policy of banning social media for children under the age of 16. My colleague Mugilan is also joining us with more. Mugilan, first up, break down what all has been the observations or the contentions of the Madras High Court.
Now we are seeing the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court coming up with very important observations regarding the internet usage among the minors, particularly the kids who are below age of 16, and they owning the social media accounts. So when this petition was taken up for hearing yesterday, the bench, Madurai bench headed by Justice Jayachandran, has suggested the central government to come up with a legislation like how it is in Australia, that is the minors who are below the age of 16 cannot have a social media account. And the chief and the court also have asked the Tamil Nadu Commission for Children's Safety to come up with an awareness drive among the minors against the ill usage of internet, and it has also stated that it should take up the work immediately. So now this petition was seeking a parental window for the minors to use the internet, because the petitioner has stated the explicit content are very easily accessible and available on the internet for the minors to access. So there should be a parental window. So this was the petitioner's request, and this was taken up for hearing. So we have to wait and watch what the central government will reply to the observations made by the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court. But now the Madurai bench have suggested that the central government should come up with a regulation like how it is in Australia, preventing minors from accessing social media accounts and owning social media accounts to surf online.
This is, of course, a suggestion or a request that has come in from the council in this case as well, who also said that in view of proportion of pornographic content easily available to children today, that above relief is needed, that the Commission has a statutory duty and responsibility to spread child right literacy amongst various sections of society. But prominently, this suggestion that India should follow what has happened in Australia has come from the petitioners as well. What was their main contention? Was it asking for this ban, or can you expand on that parental window that they were asking for?
The petitioner was very specific on the parental window, that is to restrict the access to the explicit or the pornographic content by the minors. So it was the observation of the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court was cited, which was cited the Australia government restriction was the observation made by the Madurai bench, and it was not made by the petitioner. So the Madurai bench have cited it as an example to come up with a similar legislation. So we have to wait and watch what the central government will be replying in this matter.
All right, Mugilan, thanks a lot for joining us on that. Raking up the population debate, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has now said that every family should have at least 3 kids to increase population dividend of India. Let's first up listen into what he said. All right, we're also getting some latest updates about a Hyderabad expressway chaos that has taken place. Youths have burst firecrackers, fire rockets from moving car, arrested after video has gone viral. Now, Hyderabad, there was some panic that prevailed on the PV Narasimha Rao Expressway on Wednesday after youths burst firecrackers and fired rockets from a moving car, posing a risk to other commuters. The incident involved a vehicle bearing registration number TG11A9177. Fellow motorists had captured that dangerous act on video and shared it on social media, where it quickly went viral. And acting on the footage, senior police officials traced the vehicle's owner using the registration number. The owner confirmed that the car belonged to them. Who know is that the Rajendra Nagar Traffic Police has arrested the youths involved in the reckless act and have handed them over to the police for further legal action. My colleague PV Ramana is also joining us. Tell us more.
Yeah, actually in Hyderabad, there is a PV Narasimha Rao Expressway. This is the fastest way which leads to Hyderabad Airport, in fact. So in that way, yesterday, day before yesterday, around evening, around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, a car which consists of almost 4 people. They are fired crackers, like we can see in the visuals also. The people, the youngsters who is in that car, they are cracking the rockets and other things from the car itself. And it was noticed by one of the motorcyclists, and he recorded that video and he handed over. He kept that in the social media. It went viral. And finally, police authorities also reacted on that, and accordingly, they have registered a case against them based on the vehicle number. It is the owner of the vehicle and as well as the people who is traveling in that particular car were traced, and they were taken to the police station. They were taken into the custody, and accordingly, they were given proper what we call proper counseling. Then after they left, they were sent out from the police station. In fact, so all the case which comes under that particular thing is it's a non-bailable things. So that they were taken into the custody and they were given the station bail. Based on this thing, police also reacted on that. They have started putting more more security in the PV Narasimha Rao Expressway. The expressway is a very fastest route in Hyderabad, and which leads to airport, so that a lot of vehicles will travel in that particular this thing. So it's something. It's like creating panic among the people by seeing these kind of incidents in the expressway itself.
Ramana, stay with me. We're also focusing on the other big update that is coming in from Andhra Pradesh. In a move promoting traditional Indian medicine, Andhra Pradesh government has now cleared the way for Ayurveda practitioners to perform certain surgical procedures. Officials say this move is aimed at expanding healthcare access and integrating traditional knowledge into modern practice. But the decision has sparked sharp criticism. Indian Medical Association has raised objections, warning that allowing Ayurvedic doctors into operation theatres could put patients at risk. The IMA insists that surgery must remain the domain of trained allopathic surgeons, while supporters argue this will help bridge gaps in rural healthcare. Ramana, tell us more. What are the arguments that the government has made, or the thinking on basis of which they have decided to go ahead with this move? Because I'm sure even the government knew that this was going to be controversial or would invite backlash to some extent.
Yeah, as you said, definitely it will be the controversial decision from the Andhra Pradesh government, because government says that recently Health Minister told that PG students of Ayurvedic will be given they will be allowed for the making surgeries. And moreover, he mentioned 14 to 15 categories, like they can go for general surgery, they can go for ENT, they can go for eye surgery. These kind of there is specifications which comes under this what we call emergency kind of a thing. So their surgeries will be these surgeries can be done by even Ayurvedic. That's what exactly statement from the Health Minister of Andhra Pradesh. So based on the statement, and moreover, he stated that all the PG colleges Ayurvedic colleges will be provided accordingly, whatever the facilities, medical facilities, whatever the equipment required, that will be supplied from the government. That's what exactly statement from the Minister for Health Andhra Pradesh. So based on the minister's statement, there are a lot of controversies coming up, because IMA, Indian Medical Association, completely opposing the decision of the government, and of course the government not yet released any official document, not yet released any proceedings on this particular thing. Even though after that, after getting the statement from the minister, IMA is opposing how the Ayurvedic doctors will be allowed for the allowed for surgeries and all, and they are not capable of doing the things. And moreover, moreover, IMA says that if the government goes ahead on this decision, definitely they will go for the whatever the agitation they want. They need to protect their treated as the original doctors now. That's what exactly version from. So I spoke to some of the Ayurvedic doctors in Hyderabad and even in the Guntur also. They say that they're happy with the government decision, but how we have to see how the government will react, because IMA is opposing and doctors is welcoming this situation. In these circumstances, how the government will react and how even and moreover, IMA and union government decision also plays key role in this particular decision, so that. Have to see how the government will react, how the union government will respond on this particular decision from the Andhra Pradesh government, Shivani.
All right, stay with me, Ramana, because we have some more updates coming in. Raking up the population debate, particularly in South India, many states have been talking about how there's a population decline or bust. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has now said that each family should have at least 3 kids to increase the population dividend of India. Let's listen in.
India is only the country which is going to add 14.8% during this time. We are very, very fortunate. And also Japan, 14.6, UK declining. Like this, if you can go through all these countries, there is a big problem of aging. As Mohanji Bhagwatji has rightly mentioned always, every couple should have 3 children. Fertility rate. This is very important. I am also saying always, we are crossing now slowly replacement level. Everybody, that is our culture. If all of us will think focusing on population by 2047 or beyond 2047, centuries together, that is India time only. Nobody can dominate on the global scenario. That is going to happen.
Ramana continues to be with us. Not the first person, not even the first politician or any other professional to raise this issue. While India is the second most populous country in the world after China, there are, of course, concerns that moving forward, looking forward, India's population decline could mirror what other countries are facing, and the population dividend or the demographic dividend will get ruined. Tell us more of the context in which, Ramana, the Chief Minister made these comments.
Yeah, Chief Minister Nara Chandrababu, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Nara Chandrababu, every time he is reinitiating about the population of the country, and he also mentioning that how the China population is, what is the Japan's population, or the other countries' population. Nowadays he is feeling that population is the actual wealth of the nation. So that is the productive. When we have a more population, we can make the more productivity, we can develop more. That's what exactly his version in his angle, in fact. So after he came to the power in the 2020, in the recent elections, every time he is reinitiating, and after he came to the power only, he was lifted the ban which is having in the Panchayat elections. Earlier, there was a 2 kids limit only to contest in the local body elections, in the Panchayat elections and as well. So he lifted that, and every time he is reinitiating, every time he is promoting to get more children. Your children is your wealth. That's what exactly every time Chandrababu Naidu wanted to do. And moreover, he is facing some controversies also, because Chandrababu Naidu is having only 1 kid, is Lokesh, and Lokesh is having only 1 kid, is Devan. So every time you are having only one kids, why you are promoting these things? Why are you asking the people to have more children, more children? Why you are wanted to have more population in this? So in this context, we can see that the government, definitely Andhra Pradesh government, is promoting for the more children, more kids, and I think the government may come up with some policy document in this this thing. Even we have some information is that they may come up with some concrete policy on the population in the next assembly, next what we call next budget session of Andhra Pradesh, Shivani.
All right, Ramana, appreciate you joining us. Let's move on to updates now coming in from Karnataka. MLA H.C. Balakrishna has lashed out at a Magadi Tehsildar DP Sharad Kumar during a public grievance meeting held at the Magadi Taluk Panchayat in Karnataka. Visibly angry, the MLA accused the Tehsildar of not working in the interest of the public and warned that officials who fail to perform their duties would be publicly named. Let me go across to my colleague Afreen Hussain, who's joining us. There are reports suggesting that he crossed a line. Afreen, tell us more of what transpired.
This entire incident that's caught on camera, Shivani, you can see the MLA visibly losing his temper and lashing out at the Tehsildar identified as Sharad Kumar. He goes on to say that the officials were not working in the interest of public, trying to sort out the issues and grievances of the people. This particular meeting was held for farmers' issues, especially. So he goes on to say that those officials were not working in the interest of the people and are not performing their duties. He's going to make sure that the public beats them up with slippers. Now, such sort of a statement coming in from a legislator to a government employee is something that is unacceptable, shows the high-handedness. He also says that if you do not do your job properly, people will either beat you up or beat me up for making for not making sure that you officials are doing the duty of the people and sorting out their grievances. He also says that a complaint box will be opened every month, and he's going to write down the names of the officials and their contact numbers, and he's going to call the assistant commissioner and make sure that those officials who are not working, they'll be named publicly. And he goes on to make statements like, aren't you ashamed of yourselves? Why are you not doing your job properly? If it was somebody in your family, would you have let the same thing happen to you? These were some of the statements that were made by the Congress MLA and has triggered sharp reactions across circles.
Afrin, just stay with me. Let me just bring in a BJP reaction. Ashok Gowda of the BJP is joining us. How are you looking at this? Is this a elected representative holding those who have a certain duty accountable, or did the MLA cross a line?
Every time, whenever the Congress is in power in Karnataka, they have crossed the lines with the bureaucrats. Already 8 people have written the suicide notes and committed suicide in Karnataka from past 31 months. As well, you see that more than 15 people have died because of the pressure they could not handle. And they have clearly said their families have accused Congress party or their MLAs that this is what has happened because of the pressure they could not tolerate. They have died. And with all these officers dying on the one side, there is this harassment which happens on the officers. What we have seen is Bhadravati MLA's son saying unparliamentary words on a women officers, or on the several incidents, whether it was in Gulbarga, Bangalore, or several things can be recorded and said that, like, how the officers have been dealt by the Congress MLAs or Congress ministers. They show, literally, they say that, like, we'll shut you off, we'll tear you off. These are the words which are used against the officials by the Congress MLAs or the Congress ministers. And this is a clear incident of, like, how the Congress is behaving with the bureaucrats and their system, because they are incapable. They are the Congress MLAs cannot get the work done, and that is why they are doing all this just to build the mount the pressure. And believe me or not, this will be another angle of corruption where the Tahsildar could not have paid to the MLA. That is why he has used this word.
Well, of course, the Chief Minister himself had landed in a soup in Karnataka because he was seen trying to slap a police officer as well. Let's listen into what transpired in that meeting.
ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅವ್ರ ಫೋನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ರೈತರ ಫೋನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಬರೆದು ಹಾಕ್ಲಿ, ನಾನು ಎಸಿನ್ ಕರೆಸ್ತೀನಿ. ತಿಂಗಳು ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಜನ ಬಂದು ಅವ್ರು ಉತ್ತರ ಹೇಳಿ. ನೀವು ಇದ್ರ ಎಕಡಾದ್ರು ಹೊಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ನನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ ಜನ ಎಕಡ ತಗೊಂಡು. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ. ನಿನ್ ಕೈ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ ಹೊಡಿತಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ? ಕುಚ್ಚ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಬಾಲಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅಂತ.
Either they will beat you up or beat me up for not making sure that the officials are solving the grievances of the public. Why are you making people struggle like this? If it was somebody from your own family, would you have been okay with that? Do you not know how young officers should be? Some Tehsildars even go on to become MLAs and legislators. When Kola DC Ravi passed away, people cried during his funeral. That is because he had done so much work for the people. But if you die, will anybody cry for you?
Right. So once again, questions being raised on the behavior of the MLA concerned here and on the way that elected representatives of the ruling Congress are behaving in the state. Moving on, in a historic political shift, the BJP had clinched the mayor's post in Trivandrum Corporation for the first time in recent elections. The party has now named VV Rajesh as the mayor following the NDA's surge to 50 seats in the civic polls, up from 35 in 2020. The ruling LDF slipped to 29, losing its long-held dominance. My colleague Payal Mehta is joining us with more. Payal, tell us more about the elected candidate.
Well, of course, what we do understand that the BJP has chosen one of the most senior-most candidates as far as the elections are really concerned. Given the fact this is a big victory for the NDA, big victory for the RSS ideology that they've been fighting for decades together, as far as the left rule is really concerned. Our violence didn't see it, and they see this as a green shoot, given the fact that you have Kerala elections next year as well. It's a big, adoption of the policy that Rajiv Chandrasekhar was trying to bring into place. He has been the state president as well. So, of course, it's a joyous and a historic occasion as far as the BJP is really concerned.
Overall, Payal, you track the BJP very closely. They've been wanting to make inroads into Kerala for a very long time. In the recent elections, which were parallel to the national general elections in Kerala, they didn't quite make the same impact as they were hoping. Yes, there was an opening of account, but not as the claims were 4 to 5 seats, etc. This municipal win, though, has come as a shot in the arm for the BJP there.
Well, the BJP has done really well as far as the last 5 years are concerned. Never did anybody think that BJP would get a candidate in the Lok Sabha, but Suresh Gopi opened that window up for them. He's a Lok Sabha candidate for them. He comes in from Thrissur, and of course the recent wins mean a lot. There was a new president who was put into place. A lot was at stake. His reputation was also at stake, whether he'll be able to deliver it or not. But Rajiv Chandrasekhar has in fact opened the gates as far as the BJP is really concerned. Next few months you have the elections in place. Remember, this is one state where there's been a lot of violence that one has seen. The RSS Karyakartas have been mercilessly murdered, and this features on every discussion that you have at every RSS meeting, saying that we have to avenge what has really gone, and a lot of blood has been spilled as far as sacrifices have been made as well. We have to just wait and see what the plan really comes up as far as the next few months are concerned. Kerala also goes into election, but it's a big and a good beginning nonetheless, Shivani.
Yes, I do want to ask you a follow-up question, Payal, which is about how the BJP views what has happened in these recent elections, because the Congress-led UDF has also done very well, while the left-led LDF has come down a bit. How do they see this challenge? Because it's traditionally been an LDF versus UDF fight.
Well, sometimes you don't traditionally really, count as to what happens in the local body elections. For example, in 2017, before the big elections, you saw a slump as far as the UP was concerned in terms of local body elections as well. But they swept the 2017 elections and how as well. So obviously, calculations are being done. The BJP will play to its strength. They do understand that the equation is not exactly in favor of them. Neither will the Christians vote for them, or neither will the Muslims vote for them. So that's significant population of these two communities that you have in Kerala, and you start with a minus 36. But the BJP will play to its cards. Rajiv Chandrasekhar is a young president. He's somebody who understands urban population very, very well. He's very tech savvy, and the youth of Kerala also probably want to do away with the traditional politics and move towards something which is more forward looking. Look to probably being part of that growth journey that the Prime Minister often speaks about as well. So the BJP is very, very hopeful that something good will come out of this, and of course this election win in the local body gives them a big step to look to that positively as well.
All right, Payal, I do thank you for joining us. All right, some entertainment updates. Ranveer Singh's latest spy action blockbuster, Dhurandhar, has become part of the top 10 highest grossing Indian films of all time. Directed by Aditya Dhar, the movie has crossed 1,000 crore mark in just 3 weeks. More feathers being added in the cap of this movie that has, of course, become the poster movie of when it comes to polarizing opinions on its purpose and even its quality. Initially, it was criticized for very gory, violent scenes. Then it became about propaganda. And then there was an entire ecosystem fight from left to right over the movie and its success. Many attempts, some would argue, were made to discredit the movie, even from industry insiders. Vishal Chatkara is now joining us with more. Vishal, just take us through the significance of the 1,000 crore club that Dhurandhar has now entered.
Well, it's a very big milestone for a film to collect 1,000 crores globally at the box office, because in the past we have seen only films like Bahubali has made it, or perhaps Dangal. But this was very important because Hindi cinema is going through a phase where audiences were not venturing into the theaters. Most of the consumer content consumed online, and there come a film like Dhurandhar, which nobody expected that it will become such a big hit that, you know, it overshadowed Bollywood films like Avatar that released a few weeks ago, or even the new Kartik Aaryan film. So this is a very big milestone for a Hindi film. And looking at the numbers, it collected 28 crores on Christmas. We don't see it stopping it, and perhaps next week also is going to be Dhurandhar. It's a very important film because it actually changed the narrative how spy thrillers are made in Bollywood. It's very real. It talks about real life incidents, and something I think other makers are now contemplating to change the narrative after seeing Dhurandhar's success. It's very important as a box office success for the actors. Even Ranveer Singh, who was struggling for a big hit, has actually delivered a mammoth hit with Dhurandhar. So is director Aditya Dhar. It's his second big screen outing. He again proved that he is the force to reckon with. And so are the other players or the music of the film by Shashwat Sachdev. Everything, it's firing on all cylinders, and it's really like it's unstoppable, and we don't see the film like stopping in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, one wonders if all the criticism that was showered on Dhurandhar actually helped it do as well as it is continuing to do now. Thank you, Vishal, for joining us. In a candid conversation, actress Amanda Seyfried opens up about embodying Shaker, leader Ann Lee in The Testament of Ann Lee, a musical drama that blends faith, movement and radical compassion.
People were terrified of these Shakers, these feverish dancing, these loud parties, and they were just very threatened by it. And she was in prison so many times, and then she decided not to eat, and that was the moment. She didn't eat for 2 weeks, and that was the moment her soul kind of left her body in a way, to find true enlightenment. And that, you know, with that physiological experience and the psychological experience that of grief and mourning, I think she found the light in a way that can actually impacted so many people in such a positive way, because she just wanted community. Like everything she felt she needed was enhanced tenfold because she believed she was the second coming of Jesus, but for the good of everybody. Like she didn't lead with fear or power, she led with compassion and grace and a maternal kind of hand, and that just doesn't really exist, especially in the 18th century, where she just wanted everybody to feel equal and to have a greater purpose together. It was just so pure. Because of all the movement and because of the vocalization that only comes with a musical form, medium, it took you straight into your body and straight into the heart of why they were moving. It is physiological. The breathing does change your mental experience. It brings you closer to the earth, and it brings you closer to yourself. And it's like it's not even conscious. And so the movement and the vocalizing, and there were even times I was in the studio just creating these sounds that I'd never heard come out of me before, because I was just exploring what my body could do. And with sound and with movement, you breathe differently.
It was like very freeing and empowering to be given the permission to just move and not care what you look like. It was also we were filming in summer in Budapest, so it was boiling hot, and we were like dancing and wearing corsets and heavy skirts and like velvet waistcoats and wool, and so like there was also a lot of sweat that had a big effect on me, at least. I don't know about you.
Me too.
Yeah, that was something.
Hello and welcome. Watching CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur Saroya, and here's what we're tracking for you at this hour. Let's get started. No end to the Islamist free run in Bangladesh. Yet another Hindu man who was accused of extortion beaten to death. Hasina blames the Yunus government. Janhvi Kapoor pens a heartfelt message as she calls upon her fraternity to raise voices for Hindus in Bangladesh. Says we cry about things happening halfway across the globe but not our own brothers and sisters. Union Home Minister Amit Shah set to lead BJP charge in Bengal with 3-day strategy session. Mega meetings lined up. Andhra government's move to allow Ayurvedic doctors to conduct surgeries irks the IMA. Medical body says line between modern medicine and Ayurveda will blur with this move. Shocking pictures captures brats bursting crackers and firing rockets from their moving car, posing a risk to commuters on Hyderabad Expressway. Cops swing into action after video goes viral. All occupants of the car have been nabbed. Himachal Pradesh Medical Services hit after resident doctors go on a statewide strike to protest expulsion of doctor who was caught on camera brutally thrashing a patient. Chief Minister doubles down, condemns the doctors' strike. Following nationwide outrage over wanton assault on minorities, cops start cracking down on fringe loonies. VHP workers arrested in Assam for disrupting Christmas festivities, while 3 persons have been detained for harassing Kashmiri shawl seller in Uttarakhand.
वो तप त्याग का साक्षात अवतार थे। वीर साहिबजादों को वही विरासत उनसे मिली थी। इसलिए भले ही पूरी मुगलिया बादशाहत पीछे लग गई, लेकिन वे चारों में से एक भी साहिबजादे को डिगा नहीं पाए।